Good news, everyone. The anti-free speech, pro-censorship, anti-gaming coalition of roughly 100 women that are childless, husbandless, and definitely 100% very bitter about life and think it's extremely unfair how everything ended. Feminists from Australia are losing, and they're starting to panic. They're getting desperate.
Regarding collective shout and how apparently there is a little bit of turmoil happening over at this particular group. Now, I don't think they're necessarily going to shut down or anything, but what I will say is that the
Soon. Soon.
entire situation around the film Cuties regarding this particular group, Collective Shout, has been an interesting one. And the reason why is because some of them seem to advocate for it, some of them seem to want it banned, and they can never seem to get on the same side. But the funny thing is, the ones that advocated for it to be banned are now magically deleting the tweets to try to make it seem as if the group is unified completely, when I don't think that's the case. Madam Savvy has done good documentation, screenshotting all of this.
Whenever in doubt, delete evidence a lot.
And we're going to go over that today in this video. So we're going to start off with this one. This person, Correlate Allison, Savvy says Correlate here breaks rank with her collective shout cult and called for cuties to be banned, even tagging the very woman who refuses to agree with her on the situation. She's talking about this particular tweet right here. If you look, she says Netflix removed the new movie Cuties as it includes the sexualization of young children and tries to get it banned. This was back in 2020. She tags Collective Shout.
Ooh.
She tags Melissa Tankard Reese. She tags Caitlin Roper, Ellis Kennedy, and Melissa Lazutsky or something like that. And she even tags Netflix, of course, as well. This is somebody who has been a hardcore
You know what's the funniest part? You can bet that Netflix saw this tweet.
activist for a long time now. The tweet is still up for everybody to see right now. So again, Coralie Allison says how well, no, not I'm sorry. Savvy says about Coralie Allison, how can you live with yourself working with women who to this day are defending the film Cuties? Both Ellis Kennedy and Renee Chopping spent a bit of recent energy to defend the film. Will you defend the film?
You know what's funny about this? Stuff like Cuties is probably gonna get a lot of people in hot water in the next like 5 to 10 years, and maybe even later, when someone hears, wait a minute, wait a minute. You think this movie is okay? You sick person! How dare you? That's gonna be what's happening in a couple of years, and 100% obviously deserved. It should be like that.
You called it the sexualization of little girls. How can you work with women who support the sexualization of little girls? Now, again, I feel like this is a pretty straightforward, pretty good question to have. I highly doubt they're ever going to actually answer it, but I feel like this is a very good question to have, right? So they seem to be a little bit at war with each other in terms of ideology regarding all of this nonsense. Well, let's go over to this tweet right here. Hold on. Let's go to Nope. Yep, this one right here. So Savvy says it would appear that NCOSE has also changed their stance on cuties in order to align with Collective Shout, who is choosing to defend it. Haley McNamara of NCOSE has deleted her tweets completely relating to cuties only after Madam Savvy quote tweeted her. She then asked
Damn.
Ek Gaydon, VP of Public Policy for NCOSE, about it some time ago, and she said that she will look into which she did not have to say. But does this mean that we have our answer? So it seems as if because Madam Savvy has brought the attention of their support to the film Cuties, now suddenly it's not just Collective Shout members that are deleting their support for the film. It is also NCOSE members that are deleting their support for the film as well. Now,
Ooh.
nobody's going to really take this as a win because they still supported the freaking film. And these are the people who are currently trying to be moral police over you and tell you you're an evil person.
My favorite part about all of these people who constantly try to pretend that they are the most just, they all do the same thing, right? It's fine to say that you are just. It's fine to say that you are someone who's impartial, maybe. It's fine to say that you try to be right about your decisions and you try to look at things from a factual perspective. But the moment someone tries to place someone over them being in the right, you always know that it's a bunch of lies. You know that these are just completely insane, bad people with most likely, at the bare minimum, shaky and probably most of the time flat out evil histories that are for some reason now trying to please you because they are the arbiters of truth and they know what's right, just, and good in this world. Even though clearly they don't. Otherwise, they would not be scrambling to delete this evidence. Otherwise, they would not be afraid of their pasts. Otherwise, well, otherwise, none of this would honestly be happening. And this is always the moment someone tries to tell other people how to live, you know there's something wrong with them. It's fine saying that you try to live your life like a good person. That's normal. I try to do that. You probably try to do that. But people who try to get others to live like that, they always have something to hide at the end of the day, don't they?
For enjoying fictional legal content, even though they're the ones who enjoyed real little girls in a real movie content. I don't know. I just find it to be a little bit strange. But anyway, well, NCOSE Savvy says publicly reaffirmed their condemnation of cuties, which exploited 650 little girls via auditions, making them twerk for adults, and then the remaining cast be forced to dance sexually for.
Ban child beauty pageants. That's all I'm gonna say. Just ban them. They're wrong. Every judge needs to be investigated. You know it's true. And stuff like this also needs to be investigated. Where are the police?
All the world to see? And if so, why do high ranking members of their organization no longer feel the need to condemn cuties? Why would you also align yourself with Collective Shout, who in the last week have reaffirmed their defense of the appalling film? Now, if you look here at some of these screenshots, you can clearly see that anything related to cuties from Haley McNamara is completely gone and completely deleted. It is no longer there anymore, which again, very interesting. If you look at this screenshot here, Savvy shows a screenshot of her on July 23rd calling these tweets out, right? She says, Eleanor, why does NCOSE, which wanted cuties banned, associate with Collective Shout, which is even to this day actively defending the film? They believe sexualizing real human flesh is fine, but a video game where you save a fictional girl from abuse is bad. And if you look, she tags not only Collective Shout, but Melinda Tankard Rice with everything cuties related, and Renee.
You know what's the funniest part also about these people? It's the fact that they are gonna very blatantly have opinions that just completely rival each other and don't work in cohesion. It's like these people are trying to create a cohesive view of the world and what's good, what's not good, what's acceptable and not what's acceptable. And yet at the same time they're just constantly picking yes and no at the same time. And then they're surprised how nothing makes sense from their ideologies. It's just so wild. How they always fail this. They always fail this obvious thing of saying the sky is blue and then saying no, the sky is red, but both are true at the same time and there's no problem until they get called out and then they're like, how does this not work? It is so strange. And this is a pitfall for all of these groups, all of these organizations, all of these people that have this same type of thinking. They just blatantly want to advocate for diametrically opposed things to be right and not conflict with each other. Wild.
Shopping and all the posts she has regarding that. And this is where Eleanor said, let me look into the question. Then the National Center of Sexual Exploitation, which is NCOSE, tagged Netflix and says Netflix is providing a platform that has permitted the sexual exploitation of children. We cannot condone the hypersexualization and exploitation of the young actresses in cuties. So it's very clear that they're against it, right? It's very, very clear that they are not for it. So
Wait. We cannot condone. Oh, condone, not condemn. Okay, makes
cuties. So it's very clear that they're
very different words
against it, right? It's very, very clear that they are not for it. So what Savvy is doing is she is putting both of these groups against each other. It's actually fucking genius, right? And it's working out beautifully because now they both either all have to bend the knee or they all have to basically support it one way or the other. She's putting them against each other and
They always eat themselves. It's a beautiful thing, really.
causing this little bit of a civil war to happen between not only members of Collective Shout amongst each other, but also NCOSE and Collective Shout against each other and what they supposedly believe in. And all she has to do is just provide the screenshots that she has on both of these organizations, and that's literally it. Everything else will follow suit. She even says, NCOSE turned off replies to this thread after she drew attention to it and asked it to clarify their stance on cuties, which they
Nice.
previously wanted banned, but now their staff are deleting their condemnations in order to appear in line with Collective Shout. Again, this is all so that they can make it seem as if they are a unified force, that they're all for the same exact thing, that they all hold the same exact stance. They do not. They do not hold the same exact stance. These two groups are going at each other. It might be happening internally, but publicly they want everybody to believe that this is not happening, right? This does not look like it about children at all. Then National Center of Sexual Exploitation says the internet is broken. The law is outdated. CDA 230 protects companies, not victims. It's time for a change. Get COSA passed. Call your rep to
Well, to be fair, everything protects companies, not victims or anything. Everything is designed to protect companies at the end of the day.
demand reform. And then Savvy says, you mean protect each other from dissenting voices? Reaffirm you denounce cuties and cut ties with Collective Shout, who keep defending it. And she turned off replies completely.
Eh.
So it's amazing that Madam Savvy, one singular woman, is getting these companies to not only delete tweets and try to run damage control, but ultimately try to make it so that they basically have a civil war amongst each other. And then here's the last post from Madam Savvy that we're going to go over, where she says they have not verified. They are still against cuties after their staff is caught deleting tweets, shaming the movie. It would appear NCOSE does not care about little girls as they reference their child exploitation, defending supposed friends over at Collective Shout. Now, why don't you interview a woman who does want those games to exist? And she's talking about this post that we're going to go over in a separate video, where apparently NCOSE said the following: this isn't about censorship. It's about protecting women and girls by not promoting games.
It's always about censorship. Never buy these obvious lies. It's always about censorship. It's always about taking away something you have. It's always about reducing the amount of rights you have because someone feels smarter than someone else, and typically that person is an idiot. Most of the time, they're also Nepo baby and born to rich parents, and they literally have nothing to do better with their time, so something like this happens. Now, seriously, look into almost any of these organizations, and then you find that, wait a minute, they're just started by some kind of leftist who supports communism and whose parents are ridiculously rich, and he has been living off of a trust account since he was 19 and it's never running out. Yeah. Yeah, I am very I also love to get my world and how it works governed by people who think that food in the supermarkets just magically appears there every day at 12.
Based on the sexual torture of women and children. Check out the full blog from the gamer's perspective. Again, by the way, they still have not named a single game that allows you to do that to a child. Not a single game they have named, because they know it doesn't exist, right? At least not on Steam and not on itch.io. They know it doesn't exist, but they keep putting children in there because they want the emotional response
Obviously.
from people who don't know any better. They want people to look at something like that and get emotionally invested.
And you know what's the best? Doesn't Postal allow that? I'm not sure. I don't remember anything about Postal at this point, I'm not gonna lie. But I think if something allows it, it's probably Postal.
Before they can even think logically and say, what games are you referring to a game? Like what games are you actually, what's the name of those games? Do you even have any examples? Of course not. They have zero examples when it comes to supposedly children and whatnot.
Obviously.
So this entire situation is a well done job by Madam Sappy. She will continue to do this, I am sure. And these two companies are trying to hide all their evidence of supporting cuties because it makes them look bad when they're trying to play moral police on everybody else. Now they're putting out this fake ass article talking
And you know what's the best part? A couple of years ago, this would have actually worked. 4 or 5 years ago, this would have been fine. No one would be against this that much, but now the tide is shifting, as everyone knows. And now people are going to be like, wait, no, obvious bad thing is obviously bad. And that's good. We need to point out obviously bad things. We need to have some social accountability for stuff. Okay? When Asmongold says being a furry is fine, that's not right. When Asmongold says that government issued IDs are the future and you should be happy about, you should say, no, you paid government shill. How about no? We need to not listen to blatantly insane bad actors who constantly advocate for breaking the Constitution because why would it matter? And, dumb stuff like that. And, well, we need to be normal. We need to push normal things. Maybe as humans, we're not always the smartest about complex things, but we're pretty good at figuring out what's normal and what is actually acceptable. And this is something that we could easily do. This is something that we are easily doing also, which is a good thing. Anyway, that was Hypnotic 10 out of 10. Bye.